Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And in this case, we're talking about safety, transportation, biking, walking, cars, you name it. That's why we're honored to have with us Diana Alarcon. She's the director of NDOT, Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure. How are you doing?
I am great, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm looking forward to having the conversation.
Absolutely. It's an important conversation when you talk about transportation and logistics, the people moving business. Let's go ahead and start though with some background. When you talk about NDOT, you have a very wide view. And when you talk about strategic opportunities to engage, there's a lot to it. So when you talk about your efforts, your division, and what you do, how do you kind of describe your efforts?
I best describe us as we're responsible for the roadway from the back of the sidewalk to the back of the sidewalk. And it's anywhere from building new roadways, maintaining the roadways, creating safer passages. Part of our Vision Zero effort, which is really to get to zero fatalities that occur on the roadway, is something I'm extremely passionate about. But that's actually looking at how we can all share the road. And because it's meant to be shared by more than just the car. It's not about removing the car or replacing the car. It's about creating a safe lane for everyone. And so that's really a big part of our job, but it's also about building new ones. And it's also about making sure we have people moving. So we're responsible for the traffic lights. We're responsible for the street lights, you name it. Sidewalk, we got it all. And so you look at this, we're taking care of it. And we're always asking our neighbors if, they see something, please let us know. And the best way to do that is through Hub Nashville. You can do that by calling 311 or just doing hubnashville.gov so that we can actually get that report, because we really look at our community as another set of eyes so that we can do a better job.
So obviously there's a lot to what you do. And when you talk about a rapidly growing, continually growing city, it creates exponential challenges, obviously, to balance all of this out. And so when you look at, all of those, in some ways competing, but also complementary priorities, how do you start to whittle down into what's most important to create some movement?
Well, that's a great question. And I think it's very important to just highlight that a conversation with the community is really important. People have very strong ideas about what they want in their front door. And I think that is even more relevant now after COVID than it ever was before. So we really are looking forward, and I have been having this great conversation with our community about what they envision for a balanced, sustainable transportation system. So I want to start with that. Now, data is another thing. So I think it's really important. And, as folks that that we have engineers in the departments and we have planners in the departments, and then we have maintenance folks. We have the whole spectrum. I think we are actually always collecting data to share with the community what we're seeing is actually happening. So it's really interesting when for example, we released yesterday our traffic calming. We have a traffic calming program where we look at, introducing 50 streets a year, 25 in the fall, 25 in the spring, that we actually look at providing some improvements to slow people down, especially in neighborhoods. And, we have over 400 applications, but we can only do 50 a year. And that number never goes below 400. So that's how many more are coming in. So it's about really engaging in that safety, but using data as best practices. So it's not just going out there and someone saying, well, we want ABC, but ABC may not work. So we really want to also educate the community on the data we collected as to what is going to be the most effective traffic calming mechanism to help support their end game, their goal. So really listening to the community is really something that we're diving into.
I know that you talk a lot on other interviews about bike, pedestrian safety, but also too how the laws have changed when you talk about drivers and how, when you're 15 or 16, you take the test and you kind of forget about it, but it's like things continually evolve. And so constant education is critical for public safety. Talk about that aspect.
Thank you. I'm so glad you picked that up. But absolutely. The Vision Zero is actually based on 5 E's. So engineering is one. That's how we designed the road to make it safe. But it can't be just engineering. We have to include in it also encouragement. So encouraging people to use the street. And that's why we have open streets. We're actually going to be doing one in October. It's also about evaluating it. So that's where the data comes in, giving that information. And then enforcement, that's all the ways the double-edged sword. But you can also use enforcement as an education piece. So the last E is education. So I think it's really important because, yes, over the past, I won't give my age away, but over a few past decades, the rules have changed. And that isn't always shared out or updated. And if you're a great driver, you never have to go back to school to learn some of those new rules. And so part of our job is educating people. So for example, I like to use this. State law currently says if the speed limit is 45 miles per hour, the bicyclist has a right to be in the lane, in the travel lane. Traveling at a 45 speed limit in a car against a bicycle, the bicyclist is going to lose and they're most likely going to get killed. And I hate to say that, but you're in a 4,000-ton killing machine when you're in a vehicle. So your most vulnerable users on that roadway network are your bicyclists and are your pedestrians because they have nothing to protect them. But we do want to make it safe for everyone. We do not want to create safety hazards for the driver. We want to figure out how to create it. So that's where we get into sharing the lane. If I can create a lane that is just for the bicyclists, I've created a space for them where I'm not slowing down the drivers. We can continue to move them forward, but we're giving that space also to the bicyclists so that they have more safe. Now, something we can do better for the bicyclists is protected bike lanes. And we're working in that direction where we can do that. And that's putting up a barrier that kind of separates them a little bit because 45 miles per hour is very fast if you're walking or you're biking. It may not feel as fast if you're in a car because we can get on the highway and do 70. I always ask people to do the speed limit. And I will also share that as we go through and make improvements to our traffic signals, we are looking and setting and designing them for whatever speed limit is on the road. So I tell folks, if you want to get somewhere from A to B quicker, follow the speed limit, you'll catch more greens. But if you try to speed from 1 to 1, you're going to catch more reds, which actually will slow you down. What you'll find is that person that did do the speed limit will get to that same red at the same time you did. And they've saved money on gas. They've driven safer. And they've been able to be a little bit less stressed than that person that's racing from red to red.
You mentioned obviously some of the nuances and obviously cost, timing, the possibility of the bike lanes and the barriers. Tie that into the same for sidewalks, especially for neighborhoods and areas as well. So when you talk about some of the things that the public needs to know in terms of, hey, these are all the things we have to consider to be able to, bring these to life, kind of carry that forward into obviously the sidewalks as well.
Yes. Studies have shown that sidewalks actually improve quality of life. So, and we haven't really built sidewalks in Nashville. And so I'm going to do a little plug here for Choose How You Move, because that is going to be an opportunity to allow us to advance more sidewalks. We do have a program, a bike walk plan that's been in place, and we've been building to that plan. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to get all the funding that we would like in order to build it out at the level that we should per the plan. So Choose How You Move has looked at several things. We looked at Vision Zero using data. Where are the most crashes occurring that is affecting the vulnerable users, such as bike and pedestrians? And then we looked at, again, how can we improve that? And we found that if we can add sidewalks tied to transit, we're improving that walkability as well as that safety, which is number one. And there's a lot of safety elements. Choose How You Move is based on the 4 S's, which is, signals. It's about improving transit service. It's about sidewalks. We're adding 86 additional miles. So we're going to have this ability to really blow out sidewalks, which I'm super excited about. And it's about safety. So we're looking at all of this and not just one thing. We're looking at that quality of life as well for our community and how they're affected so that they can make a choice of either using their bike or using their feet to maybe get to a transit stop. And with improving transit service, that might be a better way to go to get to a Titans football game or to a soccer game, is to take the bus, because now they have a safe path to walk. They're in a safe environment. And it's going to be cheaper. They're not dealing with the stress of being in traffic. They're not dealing with parking. There's so many other benefits that come out of it, and even from a healthy perspective, because stress is one of the worst things that can happen to all of us. So just think about how you can reduce that stress level from a health and wellness perspective. So we're super excited about the opportunity. We've been building a lot of sidewalks, but Choose How You Move is going to give us the opportunity to build even more.
And the public transit also reduces traffic congestion, which is a piece of this as well. So tie that into Traffic Management Center managing traffic congestion.
So, as I mentioned, the 4 S's, which is part of Choose How You Move. The first one is signals. Our signals actually are really quite old and out of date and antiquated. So this is going to give us an opportunity to improve the signal. So when I talk about correcting timing to where we can move people safely at the speed limit, and if you do the speed limit, you catch more greens, moving into today's technology with your signalization is going to allow us to do that. It's also going to allow the buses to move at the same way. It's going to give them a little bit more priority. So it's going to make the bus service more reliable, more convenient. We're not asking people to get out of the car. We understand there are some people that do not, but there are some people that would if the service was convenient and reliable and more accessible. And by doing that, we're doing a couple things. We're improving the congestion, because 100 people may decide to get out of their car and use the transit, which means you reduce the congestion on the street. Fixing the signals is going to allow you to move through that in a much more efficient way and safe way. And then on top of that, it even has the health perspective of where you're reducing pollution that comes off from the automobiles. So now you've created a better air environment for the community. So it's not for everyone, but it is for some. But we just do not have that convenient, reliable transit system right now that we're going to be able to have as part of Choose How You Move. So improving the signals is going to help everybody move. Making the service more reliable and convenient is going to make it. So 3 years ago, when I got here, almost 3 years ago, we actually received a grant from the state of Tennessee through the Department of Transportation to actually set up a traffic management center that's going to help us manage all the signals. And we didn't have that before. So everybody was kind of doing a piecemeal, and now late September, we're actually looking to open up the traffic management center. We're going to also be opening one downtown so that we can better manage the events and get traffic moving there. We just, over a few months ago, completed Connect Downtown, which was a plan that looked at being able to move folks and the mobility that we need downtown for the overall area that included pedestrians, bicycles, scooters, and as well as cars and transit, most of all, because we only have one central station. But as we build out these new transit centers, such as North Nashville, which is actually being open tomorrow, it's got its ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow. These are opportunities that allow us to make this system more efficient. And then with Choose How You Move, it's going to allow us to provide more services to those efficiencies. So it's going to make our city, it's going to allow people to think different about how they move. It's going to allow them to make different choices about how they move, but we're doing it in a safe way. We're doing it in a healthy way, and we're doing it where those choices are a better opportunity than they've ever been.
Talk about an upcoming summit.
Yes, thank you. So we have what we call our Transportation Demand Management Summit. Thank you very much. That's actually in September as well. And this is actually going to be our second year. And I'm super duper excited about it because it gives us a chance to talk to the community about that transit opportunity. and also what those other means are. So it gives us a chance to talk about and offer up those solutions. It also allows us to work with different workforces that would offer that up to their employees, that would encourage it. And so we are having an all-day summit, and it's actually going to be on September the 29th at the Nissan Stadium. So come on out. We're going to have different educational pieces, guest speakers, plus the stadium's really cool, and serving lunch. But we really want to take the opportunity to share with you these transportation demand management practices. And it can be anywhere from having employers actually provide employees transit. It can be to talking about how we can actually all use bicycles as an opportunity to move. It can also be about talking with everybody about maybe altering our schedule, so not everybody's coming in at the same time. That's part of traffic demand management as well. So it's really taking everything we're doing and continue to tie it together and have that big conversation about how we can continue to do it better and more efficient. So I invite y'all, please go online, registered. We'd love to have you.
We'll wrap up with website. Where can we go to learn more, register, find the information, and also to just carry this conversation forward with all the great things we're talking about?
You can actually go to nashville.gov and go under our department. For choose how you can move, you can go to nashville.gov/transit and get all the information on choose how you move. You can also reach out to us. We really want to come and have the conversation with community members. So someone who hears this and wants to have a chance to talk, whatever it is, we really do want to hear what your thoughts are in building a sustainable transportation system for the next generation. So, reach out to us, Diana Alarcon. I'm at diana.alarcon@nashville.gov. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm ready to continue this conversation.
Awesome. Well, Diana, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate having the talk.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.